trade rumour time.
This is the thing we do on this show. We talk about trades. Okay. I'm just going to rattle off some confirmed stories. We've talked a little bit about Zach Merritt in particular already in this stream. And if you're watching this in a clip on YouTube, it will be its own video as part of an Essendon video. So let's just go through some of the news. All right. There's not a lot of big names, but there's a lot of little names. Charlie Spargo to North Melbourne. The man we affectionately refer to as Bubble. Has joined North Melbourne. You were very excited about this last time we raised it to you. What are your thoughts on North Melbourne signing Charlie Spargo?
I'm keen to hear your thoughts here, Dylan.
Why is Bubble? Is that because
Spargo, Bubble. That's what the Spars make.
The sound of the Spar.
Yeah. If his name was Charlie Cargo,
okay.
If his name was Charlie Cargo, we'd call him Brum Brum. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Freaks.
Leave a like video and
Freaks
subscribe.
is right. Yeah.
I'm not overly enthused by this signing. I think did this get brought up last week, Jesse?
Yes, but it has now been confirmed.
It's now been. Oh, that's right. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's happening.
Or at least he's signalled an intention. It's more official than it was.
Yes. No, not keen at all. Honestly, what is Charlie Spargo going to do for our team?
Where does he fit?
50 connector.
Where does he fit into this team?
Well, I assume he'll play like a high forward.
Yeah,
pretty
they
solid.
obviously see him as best 22. I don't think you sign a free agent like this with no intention of...
My issue, though, is like they made 3 signings last year. Jack Darling, Caleb Daniel and Luke Parker. I'd probably argue only one of those was really good enough to be best 22 in Luke Parker. I think the other 2 were just really sort of pointless additions of age.
Who will he be competing for game time with?
I'm just going through that in my head right now. So we brought in the mid-season draft Zac Banch, who's looked okay as a sort of small forward. You've obviously got players like Paul Curtis. Zerha's probably more of that like medium to tall guy.
Curtis and Zerha would be locks for your best 22, I would have thought.
So
I wouldn't
three.
There's a chance of being displaced.
I think be a bit more glass half full because in my favourite Melbourne team, right, he was a great connector for them.
No, he was.
So-
But the game's changed a bit too. So
You still need to be able to kick the ball inside 50.
I don't think he kicks the ball that well
That
inside.
was his greatest asset at Melbourne.
I think he was a hard worker, and he was one that sort of he came in that like evolution of that high forward that kind of got up to stoppage, and he doesn't have that sort of surgical ball use. I wouldn't say. Like he plays like Melbourne. Melbourne never had surgical ball use. Like they
never did, but I think he was one of their better ones.
decision. I think he's a good decision maker.
I think he's good for you.
Really?
Yeah, I think he'll be a good player for you.
I reckon to me, I feel he's sort of a VFL player that we're getting from Melbourne.
You want a flag?
Yeah, I know, but that's not a... Like, what does that even mean?
Well, it's an upgrade on what you've got.
Sorry.
It's an upgrade on what you've got.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to go through the team now and actually look at those high forwards. I mean, the start of last year, Colby McKercher was actually going to be playing in that high forward role. Like he was when he gave us that little bit of extra pace and he has that ball use. He sort of changed his role and went more behind the ball at the end of the year. So I guess there are spots there. But I don't know, like how many positions on our field now are we filling with guys that have just they weren't good enough to get into their own teams, and now we're just sort of like bringing them in and filling our teams. Like Daniel, Spargo, Jack Darling, Luke Parker's definitely good enough, but I don't know how. These guys should have really been in our team already, like organically. We shouldn't necessarily be taking these guys from other teams.
They're all cheap though.
Cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheap for a reason.
Yeah, but you can't. Like you always got to factor in costs when assessing the quality of an addition. And what's hard to quantify for us is how good these guys are as far as culture. So I don't really have much of an opinion on Spargo in that sense. Darling, I don't think Darling presents as like a big leader, but maybe he's a good locker room guy. I don't know. I've never really gotten that impression from him. Luke Parker, I think, speaks for himself.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And Caleb Daniel again. So these are little things that are just a bit hard to quantify on the outside.
Yeah.
But that is looking pretty glass half full.
I think I suppose what I mean, a lot of these guys, you can say will they be best 22? And the answer to that is yes. But it sort of speaks, my issue is more around like an entire recruiting process where you've got guys like Zane Dersma not getting in the team.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And maybe Charlie Spargo actually is more of a need, like that type of player than a Zane Dersma. But then how have we got here?
Yeah.
You'd want Zane Dersma to be knocking down the door, though.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of on him to some extent. And maybe that's healthy to some extent.
Yeah.
Spargo to go to North.
I mean, if Spargo comes in and keeps Dersma out of the side, you've probably got bigger problems.
Yeah.
With
Absolutely.
all due respect. Another piece of news was Draper has nominated Brisbane. There was some doubt he might go to Adelaide. I suppose the only other update is that we're unsure whether it's band 1 or 2, so that will either be pick 6 or 7 for Essendon, or it's pick mid-20s. So that is actually a big decision that's Essendon will be holding out for, and that, of course, impacts whether or not they're more or less willing to deal with Zac Merritt and Hawthorn. It wouldn't be the sole consideration, but it's a factor. Will Brodie and Liam Reidy, huge exits for the Fremantle Footy Club. Can you speak to this? Will Brodie has nominated a trade request to Port Adelaide.
Yeah.
And Liam Reidy to Carlton. What can those sets of fans expect from these guys?
2022 Will Brodie was our best in and under contested ball winner. We called him the human shovel because he just put his head over the ball every time and just get dirty. And he was a great player for us during that year. Outside ball use, pretty average. Running ability, pretty average. I think that's why he never sort of
Can't
came
get
back
out of the
into
square.
side. Yeah. Weird to see him nominate Port because they've got a pretty strong midfield and he's gone for more AFL minutes. Like Rosie, Butters, Drew, Horn Francis. You'd have run through there first.
So to argue against that, or to maybe just look at the other side of it, Butters there's a huge cloud on.
True.
Rosie's moved behind the footy. Horn Francis is probably a bit more hybrid at this stage.
Yeah, boat goes out, I suppose.
And it's a good money ball selection. I don't disagree. There's teams out there, particularly Victorian clubs, that probably could have used a midfielder more.
Yeah.
Like Essendon might have been an example. But maybe that's part of Port's thinking here. They also love recycling players.
I have absolutely no idea what Port Adelaide's recruiting strategy is. It's so bizarre.
They
Players
do
that
love
want to
it.
go to Port Adelaide, come in.
Yeah, pretty
Jack
much.
coaches, come in.
I mean, I think you've got another one listed a little bit later on, which makes more sense because of the age bracket, I would say. But this, what you said about the midfielders being there, I think that's, how does Will Brodie get into the team for starters?
I don't think he's a walk-up best 22 player.
No.
No way. I mean, he is, you described him pretty well there. He's a head in the trough guy.
Yeah.
How many of those exist at AFL clubs just in general anyway? Unless they've got some sort of weapon, massive amount of size, which he doesn't have. He's not really a big-bodied trough midfielder.
Not in terms of height. He's a bit thick, but yeah. I don't know. We were really not happy to see him play because he's dominated at Waffle ever since. So, I don't know. I think it's a good pickup, and if he plays, he has his opportunity to shine. Liam Reidy to Carlton. All we've really heard about Liam Reidy is that he's got our bench press record, and that's about it. So
Nice.
There's always one of those at a club, isn't there?
Yeah.
Apparently him and Paddy Bosch just go rep for rep, and they just try to outbench each other. But
That's sick.
when we lost Lloyd Meek, it felt like, we're losing a developing ruckman. With Liam Reidy, it feels like you sort of know what you're going to get with him. He's just a ruck dog.
You guys have been a production line of talent for rucks,
Yeah,
in
actually,
particular.
that's so true.
Not Trent, Max Noble was also a guy I think had a bit of promise. He went to Gold Coast, of all clubs.
Yeah.
And he was the least talked about ruck prospect that's left Fremantle for a while, I reckon.
Yeah. Liam Reidy, just his main strength is his strength. He's just a genuine tap ruckman.
Yeah.
Doesn't offer much around the ground. Can't play him forward at all.
Is he Victorian or West Australian?
He's Victorian.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
So
there was a period, right, where Darcy was out of the team, where Longmuir went for Reidy and Jackson, right? As a combo.
Yeah, so round 1 against Geelong, and we know how that went. He got...
was it only one game? I thought
that
Reidy
was
played
this
more.
year. I think he might have played more games last year.
Okay.
I don't think he played more than 10 games for us. But Sam de Koning dominated him in the ruck, and Sam de Koning isn't even a ruck. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
it's really not a good sign, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Campbell Chesser, a guy that we've been hotly debating recently, has left your club. How do you feel?
Well, we covered it last week. I said I was flat. I think to capture that, I was flat with this off-season in general from West Coast, where it all sounds like people are leaving and no one's coming in. That's changed a little bit this week. But the update there is just simply that Campbell Chesser has requested a trade to Carlton, which I had kind of already heard through the grapevine. It was already going to happen.
Have you got anyone coming in?
We'll get to that. I want to discuss Jacob Wehr. Was this the play you talked
Wehr?
about? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think this one for Port Adelaide overall.
I think it's a delisted free agent, so I think this is basically locked in now.
Yeah.
Because he's been previously delisted and re-rookied.
Sure.
Through that loophole he's joining Port. I was surprised to learn he's like mid to late 20s. I thought he was younger than that.
Yeah, he's been around for a while, and I think he was a rookie.
Okay.
When he actually came into the system.
Yeah.
Probably like where I was going more with that with Port Adelaide is just some like kind of like over like a few years period, like Atkins coming in.
Yeah.
Last year.
Yeah, that was
Apparently
inexplicable.
Atkins was something to do with the salary of
Lachocious.
Yes.
They were like, we're going to take all that salary off you type thing. That's what I heard.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, I did. Did someone say that in the comments?
I think it must have been.
Yeah, I think I read that as well. I didn't know
Okay.
that at the time.
No, I didn't know that either, but still.
But
it's still a list spot, isn't it? A list spot is a list spot.
But it's not isolated. Like they had this long period of going after these types.
Finlayson.
Well,
he was a
Finlayson
pretty
worked
solid
out.
player,
they just delisted him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you go back
work
far
out.
enough through the Hinkley era, there was like Jack Trenkove and Jimmy Tumpus, Jack Watts, Stephen Motlop. Again, probably not like a bad one.
Yeah.
Quinton
Generally just
Narkle.
yeah, Quinton Narkle's a good one.
Yeah, that's a great
There's
one.
just
actually.
a number of these recycled players. There's a clear strategy at Port Adelaide.
Yeah.
And I'm not actually really knocking it, but it's amazing how they keep going back to the well without much return.
No.
There's been an example of it working.
I was going to say, has any of them, and I even would take that to the rookie draft and the mid-season draft. Like there were a lot of sort of younger talents that they were like linked to, and they went for like a Manny Liddy, who was like an older SANFL player, the guy with the leg sleeve.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like decent player, but I don't know. He doesn't really look AFL quality to me. Just like, I don't know. Again, he was like an example of them bringing in, rather than bringing in like a prospect, bringing in someone that can kind of play straight away and just fill a gap. Isolated, you wouldn't say anything about it, but they just do seem to do this quite a bit. Weird one. Jacob Wehr, like maybe that's a decent signing, but he could never consistently get into that giant side.
Yeah. No, he's South Australian, so
Yeah,
there's
he
some
wants,
sort of connection
wants to go there.
Yeah. Hawks duo want out. I actually think someone's opinion, or one of these players' opinion, might have changed following tonight's game. So Essendon are monitoring Henry Huswaite. We talked about this in the Zach Merritt part of this show, but desperate to get out of Hawthorn. Apparently, yeah, we know that he was, I want to say, second round pick 3 years ago. I forget exactly. Can't crack a game. They call him the pencil. 194 centimetres, enormously tall midfielder.
What are they calling the pencil?
Because he's just tall and narrow.
Oh, it doesn't have shoulders.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Which I think is harsh, but he is tall and narrow. Big-bodied midfielder for Essendon, although not that kind of contested style big-bodied midfielder. He's more of a bit of a glidey first receive almost midfielder who gets out of traffic.
I think that's like the thing for Huswaite. Like he has to be a first possession because he's not quick enough.
Yeah.
To be a receive.
Yeah.
You can't just be like a big bodied, like float around, get touches and accumulate.
Yeah. That's true.
What was the question again?
Oh, there wasn't really a question. It more just the news is that Essendon are monitoring him, and that kind of like is obviously related to their need for a big-bodied midfielder, albeit I don't know if this is... Like, he's distinctly different from an Ollie Greaves, who is that big-bodied midfielder we've picked for them in the draft we've done last week. Yeah, that's just a little bit of news. We'll see what happens there. Obviously, Hawthorn and Essendon might be doing a deal this off-season.
Yeah, I think that has potential to be a decent pickup for Essendon because, like you said, they do need that bigger bodied player. But yeah, I do think... I assume that's what he's been working on at VFL level, to be that more contested in an under player.
Yeah, you'd hope so. Yeah. Sam Butler, 23 games in 4 seasons, has been a real core focus for the West Coast Eagles. I actually really like this. Injury issues has been a big part of his story. Yeah. But as far as style goes, that hardworking small forward who kicks goals, I think this suits West Coast perfectly.
I think Butler's more of a midfielder, like wing.
He was at centre bounces tonight.
That's true, yeah.
He was really good.
Well, this is what I'm saying. I like all these notes and these articles came out, and Butler's just played in 2 finals, and I feel like he'd be pretty happy. He's currently in the team at Hawthorn.
I don't think he'll be leaving Hawthorn. I think he'd be getting bigger offers from elsewhere, though, which is probably where a lot of it's coming from. There'll be a lot of interest for him.
Yeah.
What's his draft history?
I reckon he was a second rounder in like 2021.
And just body
Yeah,
problems.
2021, 23 games. But I think if he just played in 2 finals, they got a good chance of retaining him if they want him. But West Coast would clearly give him all the game time he wants. And that's the biggest connection I've seen to Sam Butler. And we do have a proud history of Sam Butlers. We generally turn them into premiership players. So.
Sam Clur is silent.
Crows are into Zac Bailey now. We talked about him as a possible target for the Essendon Footy Club last week. And now the Crows have thrown their hat in the ring. This is an interesting one. It's not really a position of need, but he is potentially A grade, depending on your viewpoint of Zac Bailey. Yeah. And now they're set to be one of the most aggressive suitors for the 25-year-old. He does have a connection to South Australia. I'm not sure what it is. Drafted out of NT, but I think prior to that, there was some South Australian-ness about Zac Bailey.
It's interesting you say that. This is totally anecdotal, but there's been some players from the NT that go and play their under 18 footy in South Australia, and they go on board there and stuff. Not sure if that's
Willie Rioli might have been one of those.
Yeah, I think
he's drafted out of SA. Yeah.
Taj Murray this season.
If you're Zac Bailey, you're going to the Crows or staying at Brizzy. I don't think anyone's joining Essendon, especially a player of his quality.
The money would have to be outrageous.
The money is pretty strong at Essendon. It was 1.3 per year for 6 years. But I suppose Adelaide probably have a bit more to deal with in terms of who's coming out of contract or all these players coming up at once. But there is an increased salary cap, so he might still get a good deal there.
Most likely to stay, surely.
So this, I think, would be more next year.
Okay.
Because he's a free agent next year.
Can I just say with the positional need thing with Zac Bailey, as much as I agree with you on that, he might unlock somebody else to come into the midfield, which is maybe an area where they lack depth.
Well, he's been playing a bit of midfield.
Well, that's the thing.
The last couple of weeks.
He has that flexibility as well, but maybe it gives you the flexibility to play like a Josh Rochelle on ball a little bit in the future. Whether we think he's good enough, maybe.
His own aspirations come into it as well. Does he want to be a midfielder? Because it's going to be a while before he does that at Brisbane, you'd think.
Yeah.
With Ashcroft, Annabelle, the other Ashcroft, and the other midfielders they have at the Brisbane Lions.
100%. Yeah, there's so much going on there.
Yeah.
And obviously the money piece as well. Maybe Adelaide could offer him a little bit more.
Yeah. Certainly than Brisbane, you'd think.
Yeah.
Speaking of Brisbane Lions midfielders, Lachie Neale to West Coast. I floated this a couple months back as something I'd heard through the grapevine. I think this has been talked about a lot lately, that West Coast are trying to get Lachie Neale. And it came out through, I think, SEN, but a lot of Twitter, big footy talk, everyone claiming to know someone who knows Lachie Neale, that he wants to finish his career in Perth. His wife is from Perth, etc. And West Coast are all over him, and Fremantle were, for whatever reason, in a lesser position to try and get Lachie Neale. Having said all that, I saw Ryan Daniels today say he doesn't think it's going to happen. So this might be a non-story. But, I don't know if everyone saw that. So people watching this who have undoubtedly heard about the Lachie Neale thing, I don't think it's going to happen. When Ryan Daniels says it's not going to happen,
it keeps coming up though, doesn't it?
He was very close to rejoining Freo a few years back.
That's
2022, right. I think it was, or end of 2021.
Yeah.
Very close to coming back. There was talk in the press conference with our GM if we'd be interested, and they pretty much shut it down straight away. They said the amount of midfielders at Freo that have asked for more midfield minutes, guys like Neil Erasmus or O'Driscoll or Murphy Reid. So I don't think we're going to show much interest in him.
It doesn't really make sense other than a romantic notion for Fremantle.
Yeah.
To go
No.
That would be it.
I think it doesn't make sense just from a... we have young players that are going to continue to evolve in there. I think it would stunt the growth of other players, but I think our
plus
midfield,
you already have the leadership there.
Yeah, but I think we could benefit from it in the short term, but long term maybe not, because I think it would piss off a Neil Erasmus. And
he is 33. And you could say, well, you had Fife, but Fife didn't play a big role.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not you wouldn't recruit Lachie Neale to be a Fife replacement.
My rate's wrong on the outside as well as the inside. I know he's a very good on-ball player, but anyway, we'll move on.
Interesting.
I'll let that hang.
My only thing to add to that with the West Coast point, do you feel Lachie Neale just... I know we don't know him, but he feels like he wants to, win premierships and be in good teams. It would be a pretty big sacrifice.
He would be sacrificing any chance at a flag, obviously, if he left. And
Really?
and some go to West. Fuck. I thought
How
you
did
were,
that get you?
No, I thought he meant like, well, Fremantle can win a flag.
Oh, okay.
And then I saw his stupid little face. Damn, I have a stupid little face. There is no doubt. Some was like reading into the fact that he was gutted to, when he did his injury, there was a real emotional reaction. And they were like, oh, he's played that was his last chance at a flag. But it could have just been disappointment to, be out for the year when Brisbane are in the thick of it. So it was nice while it lasted. This sort of rumour is all West Coast fans have to cling to. And it was really nice for 4 days where I liked Lachie Neale.
I think if Lachie Neale went to West Coast, that would be the turning point for me to say like they can kind of like begin this rebuild, and I'd actually have some confidence that they were going to
begin this rebuild.
Like begin it in the sense that like
begin
the trust,
begin the rebound, maybe.
Yeah,
because we've been rebuilding undoubtedly, but the rebound.
It would give me confidence that you could bring in new draftees.
Yeah,
and they're going to get better.
Yeah,
around a player like that.
But that's not going to happen. So we can move on. North Melbourne, who else do they want?
They want Mihocek. They're still going for him, offering him 3 years, I think was the latest rumour. Still unsigned, as is Jamie Elliott, but we'll stay on Mihocek.
This is a good decision.
Yes.
This is a very good decision.
Yeah, it improves you in the short term.
Improves us in the short term, gives us a bit of a focal point down there, opens up Lachie a little bit. I think this is an upgrade on like kind of what we did with Darling last year. He's a better player. I really like Mihocek.
He's one of my favourite forwards.
He's a gun. He's a gun.
Yeah, it'd be just the body piece that would be the concern, that he comes in and then like doesn't play that many games.
Yeah. Probably worth a punt though.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, 3 years though, I suppose there is always a bit of doubt.
I don't think
risk,
North would be too concerned about that side of it.
No. The Pies are offering 1 year. He will decide after the final series, which could be next week for Collingwood. Who knows? They're also into Elijah Tsatas. Tell me about your interest level in Essendon's Elijah Tsatas. Bearing in mind, I think I read this before the Merritt thing happened. You'd think that if Merritt leaves, Tsatas is less likely to leave. But also probably not a position of need for North Melbourne. It would just be a bit of a throw at the stumps for a top 5 pick who hasn't hit his straps. There's also interest from the SA teams, Pies and Richmond, I read.
If I didn't think it already, if we recruited Elijah Tsatas, it'd just confirm that we have no idea what we're doing. Like, I don't know. Like, what would be the point in that? I have zero interest.
Yeah. Fair. And speak to that a little bit more. Is it because you have a glut of midfielders? My voice is breaking like a little bitch.
Yeah. Well, I think we kind of touched on it before with Dersma. It's not that Tsatas and Dersma are exactly the same player, but Dersma can play as like that third tall as well. But we basically already have high draft pick midfielders that can't get into our team. Like Will Phillips is still on our list.
Yeah. That's it. And Tom Powell is sort of, well, he's pretty established in the 22 right now.
Yeah.
But again, like where does Tsatas fit into that? You'd really be hoping that he recaptures that top end form that he showed. But I feel like his kicking ability has stopped him from being able to play at the highest level.
Yeah, because he goes into the VFL and he gets like big numbers consistently. Yeah. He's always like 10 plus clearances, 30 disposals. So he can find the football. He's athletic enough. He's got all of that. But we've got plenty of those guys. Like we've got George Wardlaw. He's an upgrade on Elijah Tsatas. You know what I mean? We've got Sheasel as a bit more of a ball user. Colby McCurch could get into that midfield as well. I just don't.
It almost feels like a better fit for Richmond. Which I'm just having a look. Yeah,
for sure.
Richmond were one of the connected clubs, actually, now I think about it. But I think it makes more sense for Richmond, who obviously a little bit further back. Last year didn't go particularly midfield heavy. So Tsatas would be a better fit.
I'll just make this little thread that because we went after Windhager, it kind of makes me think that they're trying to find a ready-made sort of defensive midfielder. Maybe they think they can turn Tsatas into that because he can't kick.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. To summarise, though, we've also heard a little bit about Jordan Butts. He hasn't been able to get into the Crows side after that punctured lung, and it was an emergency last week against Collingwood. That was when I wrote the notes. The club's linked to him, and he's a restricted free agent next year, are North and the Bulldogs, and I'd imagine, West Coast are another team who desperately need a key back. They'd probably ask the question, what are your thoughts on Jordan Butts being a target for North Melbourne? So to summarise at North, we've got Spargo, Tyler Young and Jordan Butts would be the key backs, and then Elijah Tsatas.
I think actually Jordan Butts would be a great pickup to come into the team and actually impact. Like Tyler, I like the Tyler Young one as well. I think as a prospect, but I don't know if he's actually going to come in and sort of make a difference. Whereas I know like Jordan Butts, he's not a high quality. He's not like he's not going to be Jacob Wiedering, is he, or somebody like that? No. He is a ready to go key defender that's been at least better than serviceable at AFL level over some time.
Yes.
He would allow us, I think, to... How tall is Jordan Butts, actually?
I don't know. It's interesting to consider what a young Butts combo would be for North Melbourne.
A young Butts combo?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I got to feel that.
He's tall, 198. Yeah.
198, yeah. He's sort of a big dog. So he'd sort of be that, like, Mackay replacement in a way.
Yeah.
I feel. He'd be able to, like, take... And I do think he is, like, a bit more of a defender, which is something that North don't have a lot of.
Yeah, lockdown.
Yeah. If he could get Griffin Logue out of the team, that'd be so good.
No, Griffin Logue's good, man. Good character.
You can have him back.
Good locker room guy.
Great
locker room guy.
I love that. Like, it's what people say when they don't think the guy's any good. Right?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, he's
good
in the locker room.
How was he at the sport though? Some other stories, Jesse. Hit me with them.
Okay, so Port chasing Jesse Motlop. Did you write Cal Toomey said this?
I did. He
Okay.
tweeted yesterday that
thank you.
Port have ended their pursuit of Jesse Motlop.
Okay.
It's crazy considering all the guys we just mentioned.
And they don't
Port
want Jesse
Adelaide.
Motlop.
And Jesse Motlop had a great year at Carlton this year. He was.
I don't know. Did he?
Every time I watch Carlton, Jesse Motlop was like one of the shining
I don't know
lights.
if he did.
I wouldn't call it a great year.
Definitely a career best year.
I think he was played out of position a little bit.
He played midfield at times.
He did.
I was impressed by Jesse Motlop this year.
There's something going on here with Jesse Motlop because he's been out of contract and hasn't signed, and we're pretty late into the season. Or Carlton have been out of the finals race for a while now. I don't know what's going on here. I haven't seen any link to West Coast. I did suggest last week. I was like, that would kind of make sense. WA guy out of contract, like they're probably having a sniff, but something's going on there. Excuse me, but we can ignore that because Port Adelaide are not chasing him.
So 23 games at career high disposals
of 10.
Yeah, of 10. That's not really great, is it?
No, I don't think he had a great year.
I don't think that, but I don't think with Jesse Motlop. Like, how old is he now?
He's the same age as Naz, like
21.
40 years in.
Yeah,
it was a random player.
So like, I don't know if you necessarily care right now about the volume, but I think he did actually have some pretty good moments. Like he did things this season where you're like, okay, I can see a player there.
Yeah.
Now just do that more often in a game, and I think there's something there. But I don't know. He's one of those guys that gets a lot of shit from Carlton fans.
Yeah,
they really don't like him.
Yeah,
so does every Carlton player other than Patrick Cripps.
That's true.
That is true. Yeah.
Carlton's also a pressure cooker club to play for. You're under the spotlight a lot.
Get him to Geelong.
Yeah.
Speaking of Port Adelaide going for these types of players, Brayden Fiorini. We talked about him last week.
He's not linked to Port Adelaide too.
Port Adelaide and Essendon.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Like, honestly,
the Essendon one kind of makes sense, but Port Adelaide is a questionable one, I think.
I mean,
I suppose Boak's retired, so maybe they're looking to add one more midfield piece.
I don't know. Like,
use your words. What's your issue with Port Adelaide going for Fiorini?
Well, it's just another kind of. I'd like to say this better, but like a nothing player.
C grade.
Yeah,
right.
It's like someone that doesn't have any electricity, like doesn't have any speed.
Yeah.
He's like
very Amish
he's the definition of that old school midfielder like Tom Rockcliffe and those guys, that really easily get 35 touches, but they don't really have any defined role. Like they don't necessarily go in and win clearance. They sort of bob up, take uncontested marks, get handball receives, win a little bit of contested footy, but they don't hurt you by foot. So you can probably carry a couple of them. I feel like Port Adelaide have 6 or 7 of them now.
You know what this speaks to me? I think if you go... in fairness to Fiorini, he has kept his spot in a Gold Coast team that's in finals. I don't disagree with anything you said in terms of his assessment. But Port Adelaide going after these depth players screams, we're looking for depth because we think we're playing finals and potentially better next year.
Yeah,
that's what it screams to me.
Yeah. Which I don't think their list says that.
Yes. You've been harsher on them than me. I have rated at least what their top end is capable of, but my faith is, in terms of structural balance, it's harder to see it a little bit now with Port, but maybe that's just the
I suppose
lens of this year.
If you're looking at them from a this year perspective, like what goes right for them next year so that this doesn't happen again? Like what's actually moving them up the ladder?
Well, I think they had a bad run of injuries this year, which they will point to.
Who was like out for?
I mean, Butters missed the early part, and then Horn Francis missed the last part, and I think Rosie missed a little patch in the middle. We had no Lukosius, who admittedly wasn't there the year before.
Yeah.
And I want to say just like Tolls in general.
Pal Pepper missed a lot of footy.
Yeah, ACL, I think.
Yeah, he did another ACL, so he's probably not in next year either.
No. I think they have structural issues with their Tolls, but if Ollie Lord takes a step and Georgiadis backs it up, it's probably more their back half.
I'm more worried about their defence.
Yeah.
They're not going to be a top 8 side next year, are they?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it, but evidently they feel like they're not that far off because I don't think you're doing this when you're refreshing the list.
Jamie Elliott, he's had a good year. Lots to talk about him.
There, that won't go away. So with Collingwood, I think it's hard to know what's like clickbait because they're Collingwood and it's Jamie Elliott.
Yeah.
But there seems to be hotter news that my vibe is it's more likely Elliott gets to the Gold Coast than it is Mihocek leaves Collingwood. And I can't imagine a world where Collingwood let both go because that would devastate their forward line.
I was going to say that's their two highest goal kicking. I think Elliott was their highest this year, but Mihocek also doesn't play enough games to get there.
So with Elliott, all I'm saying is that the vibe of the articles and the way they're written, if you ignore the clickbait, it just won't go away, and there seems to be a chance he will leave. If I'm honest, I predict that both re-sign with Collingwood, but the temptation of joining Gold Coast wouldn't be insignificant, and they do need a small forward. Their forward line doesn't have that kind of. Well, I wouldn't say Elliott's a purely ground level player, to be honest, but like they don't have that kind of player.
I actually think there's a perfect spot for him as well because Bailey Humphrey is sort of playing as a forward now. I don't think that's his long-term game. No, I think he'll go into the midfield and be a bit more 50-50.
Yeah.
They got
Striker.
Long. I'm trying to think who else. Buderick's played there a bit, hasn't
he? Yeah, he was there last weekend. Farrow?
Yes. Yeah, so that's a clear... Farrow would be the one, really, because Elliott can play tall.
Yeah, that'd be a good move for Jamie Elliott.
Yeah.
And he'll get paid up there as well, so...
It's a great move.
Yeah, big loss for them if he goes. Collingwood will need to find goals.
Does it feel like a bit of a... I know this isn't the topic of the video, but a bit of a last dance for Collingwood this year? Like, they're pretty old. There's players getting, like...
How often do we say this about Geelong, though?
Yeah, but I don't know. Collingwood missed finals last year, and this year has felt like a last dance. Like 2015, Freo was a side that were very good, and then just fell off like the next year.
Yeah, I actually don't disagree with you at all.
When you got Dacos, so it's a bit different.
Yeah, what I predict for Collingwood is maybe it is a last dance, and they refresh and come back in 2 years because that's what Geelong do.
Yeah,
Geelong were like middle of the top 8 for a long time, but then they have these periods where they're the best team.
Yeah.
And I feel like Collingwood's in that arc.
It's hard too because they can always attract players. Like we're talking about the players that could leave, but they'll probably bring in 2 or 3 guys as well. And then that can kind of move the needle for them as well.
They do love their cheap tolls. After bringing in Membry last year, they also linked to Caminiti and Jack Buller from the Sydney Swans, who had a pretty promising last 3 games. I think he kicked 6 goals in his last 3 games. He showed a bit.
I think Caminiti's kind of good.
Yeah, he's more a defender, I think, these days, isn't he, Caminiti?
Yeah, but he does have a bit of versatility to him.
Yeah,
but looks more comfortable as a back.
A bit of a Moneyball selection, that one. I watched a bit of Moneyball last night. Not relevant at all, but it is a good film.
It's a great movie.
Windhager has backflipped to the St Kilda after 48 hours where we thought he was going to the Melbourne Footy Club.
That's the weirdest. Is that just bad journalism to say, like, he's gone, it's done, he's gone? Like, was everyone on the he's joining Melbourne train? Because this has gone back and forth that many times.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I stopped caring. When a story like ups and downs like this.
I always wonder with the bad journalism part of it, is it more that like someone's trying to get a message out, so they're giving information to journalists who are reporting it? So I don't know what the situation was exactly, but was Windhager's team maybe
saying, "Oh yeah, we're going to go to Melbourne," and the Saints were like, "No, we'll give you what you want."
Because when those articles were coming out, St Kilda fans were getting worried. Like there were people, they were like writing to people at St Kilda, like, "What's going on with Windhager? Like, we don't want to sign all these other guys and lose him."
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe that puts pressure on to some extent, and then obviously, St Kilda up their offer, right?
To 4 years, But since that story broke, then we heard he was going to Melbourne.
Yeah,
is my memory of it. But it looks like he's staying in Singapore until the next video we do, and he's
Apparently, someone called the Essendon reception asking why Zac Merritt's getting traded as like abuse receptionist. Saw that in the group chat.